This is really an important thing to do. Did you see how he's slapping? What he's doing when he slaps the mat, he's dissipating shock away from the body. No matter if you're slapping with one hand or two hands, what you want to do is just like a belly flop in the water. You want the pressure, you want the waves to go out. Your body doesn't want to take the force of the fall. You want to spread that ballistic energy out away from you, the kinetic energy out away from you. So that's what's happening here. All right, let's take a look at Ukemi. Ukemi is often called breakfalls, and actually that's a misnomer, Ukemi. Ukemi means to receive the body. You're receiving the body. In other words, the body is hitting the mat, and the mat is receiving the body. And so that's what's happening in Ukemi. And I got Josh Lehman here, and we're going to be demonstrating some Ukemi and talking about what Ukemi is. Okay, so first of all, it's really important to note that Judo is first and foremost, it's physical education. And every good physical education, every good form of physical education, there has to be some element of safety. And Judo is one of the foremost things ever invented in providing safety for its participants, and that's Ukemi. And it's a system of breakfalls and receiving the mat, there's the body taking a fall on the mat that has been going on, and it was initially developed by Jigoro Kano himself and developed through the years to where we have it now. And there are a number of different ways to do breakfalls. We'll call them breakfalls for clarity here with our English language. But remember, it's Ukemi. It's more than just breakfalling. It's everything being prepared to receive the mat, everything you need to do. So I'm going to have Josh do some things here and some basic elements of Ukemi. Before we start, think about this, and this is what I tell my new students whenever they start out with me and they learn their breakfalls, their Ukemi. What's the most important part? Here's an analogy. You get into an airplane, you fly up and you're going to somewhere. Okay, what's the most important thing once you get in that airplane? Landing safely. Okay, same here. When you get thrown, when we're practicing, the most important thing for him, if he's my uke, my person receiving the technique, is for him to land safely. And me, it's incumbent upon me as the tori, the person performing the technique, I want to make sure he lands safely too. So it's a two-way street. It's not just on him to do the Ukemi, it's also me to help him do it properly by not cheap-shotting him, landing him on him in practice, doing dirty stuff. We want to make sure, I always got to remember, it's his turn next to throw me. When you do Ukemi before practice, his body is being prepared. He's preparing his body for the hard falls he will be taking in practice that night. Okay? So that's why you want to do Ukemi, not just for the sake of learning to take the falls safely, but also preparing your body physically to get ready. And as an uke, as a person receiving the technique, it's really important to know good Ukemi, and for me as a tori to know good Ukemi, because the better we know how to fall safely, the better our skills in throwing will develop. And if I know that I can throw my partner and he's not going to land on his arm or get hurt or crunched up, he's going to, my throws are going to develop better, and his will too. So that's why learning Ukemi is really important. So don't just, land any old way. Another thing that some coaches in past years, and I've talked to a lot of coaches, they say, well, I don't teach my opponent, my students how to lose. I don't want to teach them to lose. But if I teach them how to fall, I'm teaching them how to lose. A football player doesn't learn how to get tackled. Well, no, he gets tackled anyway in practice, but remember, Judo just isn't a competitive sport, and even if it is a competitive sport, if we're doing randori, and I throw him, and he sticks his arm out to avoid being thrown every time, he may get a pretty serious injury. I've seen these things happen in randori. I've seen them happen in competitions. So Judo is first and foremost physical education. This provides us a good basis of safety when we practice. That's the purpose of it, especially in randori. Take plenty of falls in randori, you don't get hurt. Okay, so let's look at some basic Ukemi here. And we're going to talk about some basic and some drills. So we talked about the importance of landing. Can you lay on your side, Josh, and show us the basic way of landing if I've thrown you? So lay on your left side. Okay, now let's take a look at some things here, okay? Now, when Josh, again, the important thing of landing, when he's in a landing position, let's look. His head is, of course, tucked. You never want to let your head hit the mat. Protect your head at all times. Let's look. When he slaps the mat, okay, his hand is about a hand length from his leg here. Okay, his fingers are closed, thumb in. Don't land like this, land with your fingers together. His right hand is a bit out of the way, just at the chest, tucked here. His right knee is bent, and his foot's on the mat. His left leg is slightly flexed, or slightly bent, I should say, and it's resting on the mat. Okay, so that's the landing position. That's the basic landing position on the side of the body. Okay, so that's very important. Now, a drill to develop that, Josh, if you could move your feet just a bit here. Okay. Now, a drill to do this, and I think it is a good drill for all beginners especially, but it's a good warm-up drill if you want to practice your Ukemi before practice, is he's going to go back and forth, and watch when he rocks, his feet will go up in the air, and his hands will, you know, his upper body will slap the mat. So do a few, Josh, and I'll have you stop in a second. So just on the side, and back and forth. See the drill he's doing here? Could I have you turn around your head? Just turn around so the camera can see another point of view. Okay, see how he's rolling up on his shoulders? See how he's slapping? This is really an important thing to do. Is you see how he's slapping? What he's doing when he slaps the mat, he's dissipating shock away from the body. No matter if you're slapping with one hand or two hands, what you want to do is just like a belly flop in the water. You want the pressure, you want the waves to go out. Your body doesn't want to take the force of the fall. You want to spread that ballistic energy out away from you, that kinetic energy out away from you. So that's what's happening here. So when he lands, okay. Now let's take a look. If you could come up and sit and face the cameras again, Josh. And if you could just sit with your legs straight out ahead of you. Now we're going to talk about landing on the back fall, okay. We're going to start getting into back falls in a moment here, the basics. But let's take a look at the back fall landing. When he rolls back and slaps, and I'll have him do this from different angles, watch how he rolls back. His feet will come up in the air, and when he slaps, his arms will be down at about a 45-degree angle from his hips. Okay, so he'll roll back and slap, and come right back up. See how he's slapping? Again, he's learning to slap with the whole arm. You never land on your elbow, because you certainly will injure your elbow or shoulder. And watch how he rolls back and slaps again. Can you turn sideways and face? Well, this is good, this is good, this is good. Yeah, there we go. Okay, arms out. Now watch when he rolls back and slaps, and he comes right back up. Okay, and keeps doing one or two more. That's good. Always remember, he's protecting his head by tucking his shoulder, his chin. Okay. Now, from the back view, can you turn around and just now watch when he rolls back. Now, important point when he slaps. The point just above his hip, the small of the back, when that about hits the mat, that's his cue to slap the mat. Okay, so go ahead and do that. See how he's doing that? Very good. All right. Okay, so let's turn. We're going to go into the basic break falls of Judo. Plus, we'll do a few extra here that I think will be interesting for you. All right, so the first one is KOHO Ukemi, or back fall, okay? And you can start with the 3 levels, you're learning it. Your arms, the legs must be straight out, the hands out. You can also start with your hands crossed your arms, your arms crossed, that's fine too. We're gonna have his arms out. Always remember to tuck your chin. And he will be doing just what he did now. This is the first form of KOHO Ukemi, where he's falling backward and learning how to fall, just a back fall. So go ahead and do 1 or 2. Again, remember, when he slaps, about a 45-degree angle. Just come on back here and now see when he slaps, about 2 hand lengths or about a 45-degree angle from his hips. Okay? All right, so come on back up. Now that's the seated position. Now we're going to the squatting position. Okay, so he's squatting, his arms are out, and now he has to stay round. I'll help you balance here. He has to stay round. And what he wants to do is always protect that head. And again, when the lower part of the back, when the middle part of just above the belt, when that hits the tatami, that's when he's going to slap, okay? Again, to expel that force away from his body. So just roll back. Come right back up. Some people will fall and think they have to stay there. No, roll, slap, and come right back up. So you can do more break falls, but also that, rather than just hitting hard and being knocked flat, that rolling helps dissipate some of the force. Okay, so put your hands out. Okay, from the squatting position, he rolls back. Okay, so that's the second level. The third level, he'll be standing. Okay, his arms straight out. Again, now what he's going to have to do, he's going to have to squat, roll back, and slap. Okay, one more time, you see how he's doing. Basic stuff. You guys have done judo before, it's Judo 101. It's the basic stuff, what we do in judo. Okay, that is KOHO Ukemi, the back fall. Okay, now we're going to go to SOKUHO Ukemi, which is a side fall. It's a side fall, so we're going to just sit on your butt. Okay, now here's where we practice the landing on the side. Okay, so you're going to, let's have him fall this side first. Okay, he's going to have his right hand here at the chest. Notice his feet out. His left arm is up. And what he's going to do, he's going to roll. He's going to land on his left side. Look how he landed. He always wants to practice good landing posture, position here. His knees up, legs here. Don't let your legs cross or get crunched together. Some people, if they just let their legs hit, I mean, that hurts. You know, you can hurt yourself. So remember, when you land, you want to land, you don't want to land with your legs crossed. Land with this position here. It's really important. You know, again, what's the most important part of getting an airplane? Landing safely. Same here. Let's come up and do it. Now let's do it on the right side. Right arm out. And he goes to the right side. Like that. See that? Landing correctly. See that? So that's a SOKUHO Ukemi. Okay, now stand up if you would, Josh. I know we're doing standing now. Here's when you practice. Again, you old judo heads who's done this plenty of time in your life. If he's going to fall on his left side, he's going to put his right hand at the chest, and he's going to pretend his fingers and toes are connected. He's going to sweep with both his hand and his foot, and he's going to squat, roll, slap to the side. If I can have you do that. There you go. See that? Okay, do one more time on the left side. Okay. Notice how he sweeps. There you go. Okay, he'll do it on the right side. Again, you must be good. You must be expert at both sides. You never know if your partner's going to be a lefty or a righty, which way he's throwing. Okay, so you have to be good. Ambidextrous is important in Ukemi. Okay, in this case, he's going to put his left hand in his chest, and he's going to sweep this way with his right hand and right foot. Look at a good landing position. That's always fundamentally important. One more time if we could, Josh. Always important how you land. Good. Okay, that's SOKUHO Ukemi, side fall. Okay. Josh is up on his knees. He's on his toes here. His feet aren't flat. All right, he's going to have his hands up. Okay. This is a ZEMPO Ukemi or a front fall. So people call it a Mai Ukemi. A front, Mai being forward direction. But ZEMPO Ukemi is the general term that I've always heard used in, I think, original Kodokan stuff. Now, points to remember. You want to fall, when you land, you want to fall fingertip to elbow. You don't want to land on your elbows, or your hands. You don't land on your elbows. You want to have a slapping movement from the fingertip all the way to the elbow. This whole thing is going to hit like a shock absorber, okay? He will turn his head to the side, and he will suck his gut in. Okay, and really, basically, his knees are going to be on a hinge. That's what's going to happen here. So just go ahead and do a front fall. That's it. Okay, one more time. You notice how he came up? His knees were just on a hinge here. There we go. Okay. Now that's from the kneeling position. Okay, if you could stand up. And the same, some people dive into it. That's cool. But some people just can fall forward. So in this case, he wants to make sure when he does his front fall from a standing position, his hands are up, he turns his head, he will suck his gut in, and he doesn't want to hit any part of his torso onto the mat. Okay? He wants to, and he certainly doesn't want to plant his face on the mat. He wants to turn. Okay, if I could get it. Go ahead. See that? Okay, very good. Some people will dive into it. That's okay. It's just a matter of what your sensei wants you to do. Okay?
More fall opening.
Yeah, if you want to do that. Okay, so a little variation of that. see a lot of that too. That's exactly right. See, that's actually a very good drill, very good active drill. Let's do that one more time. Good point. I'm glad you put that. So watch when he does this. Again, why do we practice learning from this direction, falling? Because you might end up being thrown in this position here. So no matter, thanks guy, come on. No matter what direction, what position he lands in, we want him to land safely. That's the point of this, landing safely. All right, let's look into some rolling falls. From a normal step, my feet are underneath my hips. Okay, that's what I start with that. When you step forward, when I step forward, I'm going to step a little longer than I normally step. Okay, and when I lean, I'm going to lean with my right knee into it, where if I look over, I cannot see my toe. So back leg is straight, I cannot see my toe. So that's kind of what he's going to do. So lean a little step, a little forward. Let's do it again. Come on out. Step a little bigger step. Okay, now this leg straight. Okay, now he can't see his toe. Look down. Can you see that? No, that's right. Okay, now with his right hand, he's going to put his right hand here in the middle. Fingers pointing toward his back toes. That's his right hand. See that position? With his left hand, he's going to be in this position. Some people will teach, as Josh and I were talking earlier off camera, they'll teach this way. That's good too. If that works for you, do it. But this is the way that I was taught. I teach it to my students this way. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to be throwing my arm through this hole here. He's going to be throwing his arm through this hole, and he's going to be pushing off his back foot. What that'll do, that'll propel him to roll over, rolling over his shoulder. And again, this is called ZEMPO KAITEN, front rolling fall. And he's going to do a good landing position. So go ahead and roll. There you go. And when you're actually doing it, when you're actually in practice, you kind of jump into it. You just step, put your hands down. Okay, if you do just step, put your hands down, do a rolling fall. That's exactly what you want to do. So all the times we do our front rolling falls, that's what you'll be doing. Okay, can you come back and do another front roll? Take a step, and just go. There you go. This is the most common practice of break fall we do, Ukemi we do. We do lots of these every practice. It's a good drill. So let's take a look now at CHUGARI. CHUGARI means to be like a gymnastic rolling type movement. Okay, that's the way I've learned it. Some people have different nomenclature for it, but that's the phrase you hear most often, I think, in the world, a CHUGARI. It's a jumping, flying break fall. So go ahead, big guy. There you go, all right? Now, there's an individual. Josh has confidence in his Ukemi. If you can do a jump like that, you know how to do Ukemi. And that's what you want to do. It's a good level of skill you want to do, okay? All right. What we're going to work on here is a good drill, a good functional drill. And I like to do this for new students, and you may find this useful too. Just go and be on both of these. I want to get a basic grip on the sleeve. I like to grab up here. You can grab anywhere along here you like. I just like to grab here. All right. I'm going to put my knee on Josh's knee, or my foot on the side of Josh's knee, and I'm going to spin him over. Okay? All right, so let's come back a little bit here so the camera views that. Okay, there we go. All right. So I'm going to spin him over, and when I do that, I'm going to hold on, and he's going to do a break fall. This drill is for him. So I'm going to put my foot here, just like this, and I'm just going to spin, and he did a break fall. And I do it on the other side. But you can see what we're doing here. This is a real functional way for him to practice Ukemi. All right? And this is what happens in a real throw. Now, he won't be on his knees, he'll be standing up, but this simulates to a great degree an actual feel of being thrown. That's what we want him to develop, that good kinesthetic awareness, okay? So I put my knee here, my foot here, the heel on this side of his knee, like this, and I'm just going to spin. There we go. These are just some basic ideas of how to do Ukemi. Some basic drills, maybe, a few extra things I threw in. If you were to come and train with me in Judo, Sambo, Jiu-jitsu, these are the Ukemi you would be learning, okay? And I try to keep as close as I can to the good Kodokan system of teaching this way. There may be some variations, But remember, it was Kodokan Judo that invented this. It was Jigoro Kano himself who developed a safe way of learning how to fall so we could practice safely and everybody could get, you know, like I say, good mutual welfare and benefit. Ukemi is very much part of that. So that's it on Ukemi. There we go.